This is the EWN Podcast Network.
Hello, it's Cathy Worthington.
And Mary Elkins.
Welcome to Season 5 and our 5th year of the Late Boomers podcast.
We will be bringing you exciting new interviews with guests you won't want to miss.
Come along for our new journey.
We hope you enjoy Late Boomers.
Welcome to Late Boomers, our podcast guide to creating your third act with style, power, and impact. Hi, I'm Cathy Worthington.
And I'm Mary Elkins. Join us as we bring you conversations with successful entrepreneurs, entertainers, and people with vision who are making a difference in the world.
Everyone has a story, and we'll take you along for the ride on each interview, recounting the journey our guests have taken to get where they are, inspiring you to create your own path to success. Let's get started.
Hello, I'm Cathy Worthington. Welcome to our 5th season of Late Boomers. Today, our special guest is Kim Mosiman, certified nutritionist, author, wellness, and Christian life coach and personal trainer.
And I'm Mary Elkins. Her book, published in 2024, titled Reflections of Joy, Learning to Love the Woman You See While Becoming the One You're Meant to Be. I love that title. It's a Christlet Award winner, and the book has helped women entering their second act explore the world of opportunities available to them in their middle years. Let's find out more about her journey and get some health tips. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
Please tell us about your background, Kim, and your struggles and how they led you to the path you're on today.
Well, I started out in the food industry. My husband and I owned restaurants for a long time. And after several years of working together and raising children together, I kind of felt like I needed something of my own. And so I started on a wellness journey. I just felt mushy and unhappy with myself. And I started going to the gym, and I caught the fitness bug. After a couple of years, and with the blessing of all of my guys, I opened up a gym of my own. And there I worked with people in 9-week intervals. People would come to us, take a picture, join a little competition, learn how to eat and exercise. And usually they had a big goal in mind, maybe a wedding, maybe a diagnosis, maybe a class reunion. And so I spent 7 wonderful years coaching people and helping them go from someone they maybe didn't want to be to someone they loved to be. My husband's job slowed down, and I didn't think it was fair that he was traveling the world and I was still going to work at 3:00 in the morning. So I closed my gym and found myself in the odd position of not being needed anymore. My children were gone, my clients were gone, and my husband's work picked back up again. And I really kind of became my client. I gained a lot of weight, didn't have much. I think I had purpose, but I didn't know what that purpose was. And I just became my own worst client. And so, yeah, there we are.
Wow.
Yeah, but that doesn't take us to where you are today. So update our list.
It doesn't.
Yeah. So how'd you get to where you are now?
I'm a writer and a journaler. And one day I was scrolling along, bemoaning my terrible existence. So it wasn't really very terrible. And I turned the page, and up at the top of the page, there was scripture that said, "You are altogether beautiful, my love. There is no flaw in you," from the Song of Solomon. And it hit at the right time and in the right frame of mind. And I started to cry. And I realized how horribly I had been treating myself, that I was doing all the things that I coached other people to not do when I owned the gym.
I hear you. You know,
Mhm.
you do, on that note, you talk a lot about when women of a certain age, or perhaps any age, look in the mirror and they go, ugh.
Yes,
And
yes.
we all do it at one time or another. And so, what do you say to your clients about recognizing themselves as worthy people, as beautiful people, no matter how old they are or what they look like?
We are always beautiful. I mean, it took that little moment for me to turn things around and start spending a little bit more time focusing on the good in myself. And I was talking to a friend just the other day, and it's not as easy as putting a little note up on the mirror that says you are beautiful. We can do that, and I think affirmations are important, but you have to look for the beauty and you have to believe it. And so I spent a lot of time looking for the things that I love about myself. And I have those things. I have a list of things I love, and I have a list of things I'd like to change. And I try to make sure that the love list is the bigger of the two.
Right.
And I've just started working on the things I'd like to change.
Mm,
That's
yeah,
a
I hear
gradual
that.
process. I'm sure it takes time to make it start to happen. But
Yes.
based on your experience with personal training, how hard would you say it is to get into
Mhm.
shape and be in good health? Can you give us a few tips?
I think a person just has to start, and anyone can begin to get in better shape. The problem that I
Mentally
saw
and physically.
Yes, yes. The problem that I discovered with myself and with my clients is that we remember what it was like when we were 20, and we remember how easy it is to maybe let things go, but then to rebound. And life is not like that when you get older. Um, and so, what I encouraged all of my clients to do, and what I started doing myself, is taking that first step, just that first step. And for someone who's terribly deconditioned, the first step might be just walking to the mailbox and back again. And
Mm,
then tomorrow, maybe you go twice, and the next day again. We have to take those little steps, and we have to build our strength and build the good things that are going on in our life, and then expand on them. Uh, we For me, life is too short to not like what I'm doing, or to be uncomfortable with what I'm doing, or to hurt myself trying to get to a place. So I've tried to find good, sustainable fitness and good, sustainable health.
I love that. Well, you're the mother of two boys, grown and grandbabies. What
Yes.
would you say to the woman who sounds like yourself when you were getting up at 3 a.m. in the morning? What would you say to this woman who says she doesn't have time to cook healthy food or exercise or work on her health?
Uh,
And
I
then how
would,
does she get the family on board?
right. I would tell her we have time for the things that we want to have time for. Um, Once upon
Yeah.
a time, we lived without these crazy phones, and we lived without computers, and everything was by hand, or heaven forbid, a calculator or an adding machine or whatever the case may be. And yet we seem to have more time then. So I would tell the woman who doesn't have time to maybe take a look at her life and where she's spending time. Go ahead and stop working when the workday is over. Spend time with your family. Maybe get up a little bit earlier when the kids aren't nipping at your heels for every little thing, and exercise then or write then. And I would also tell someone to I'm not a planner in the kitchen, but I am a prepper. So when I cook extra. I try to plan ahead. We don't do planned leftovers because my boys didn't like leftovers, but I repurpose the things that I cook into something new.
Hmm.
And that's something I try to teach my clients: is cook once, eat twice, but make sure it's fun and exciting the second time.
That's a great idea because we all
Oh,
like dread those
that
little
And it
is.
kept
leftover things in the fridge. You pull them out 2 days later and you go,
Yes.
"Do I really want this again?" Because a lot of times you don't, and
Yeah.
then you're most people are going to grab something less healthy, let's say, or less planned
Yes. Yes.
than the original meal. So
Yeah.
that's a real good tip. But what about the family? How do you,
Well,
Yep.
do you Do you try to incorporate with the family the exercise program or the, so that you're modeling that for them?
Well, we tried to. My boys were very busy. And so a lot of, after a hard day at work, I wanted nothing more than to sit in my car and maybe read a good book, but I didn't do that. When the kids were busy, there's a girlfriend up in the car in front of me who's waiting for their kids too. So we'd jump out and we would walk while the boys were playing soccer or at football practice. There's always, and I find it's more fun to exercise with a friend.
Mhm.
It's just, it makes it feel like it's not exercise.
Right.
When I was busy, I didn't always make it to the gym, but I always made it outside. Sundays, Saturdays and Sundays, we would spend time with the kids and just try to incorporate things that you could do together.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you taught them how to, even though they're boys, because boys don't think like girls when they look in the mirror, but you still gave them that positive reinforcement to think of themselves as valuable and worthy.
I tried to, and I also tried to teach them how to treat their wives and how to look at their wives and love their wives.
Well,
So,
that's important.
yes, I believe it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
it's
We
something people raising boys don't always think about that. They don't think like how to turn
mm-mm,
this man loose on the world. Like, how is he going to present? How is he going to treat people? His
exactly.
wife, his wife in his house. But as a wellness coach and a
Mhm.
middle-aged woman, which daily habits have become non-negotiable for you?
I wake up every morning and I do exactly the same thing. No matter whether I'm at home or whether I'm on vacation, I wake up, I drink a glass of water, I brew a great cup of coffee, and then I sit and I write for 30 minutes every day. And I
Oh,
don't
good for
write,
you.
yes, I don't write though for purpose. It's not when I created my book. I write to empty out all of the distractions or the dreams or the ideas. So then I feel like I have a better capacity to pray or to meditate. My mind is quieter. Sometimes really great ideas pop in there, and they might spur a writing event later on. Um, and then after I've finished writing, I usually go for a walk, and that's when I spend my time praying. It seems when I'm in my house, I can be distracted or there's always something to do. But when I'm outside, I don't put my earbuds in. I don't listen to music or podcasts. That's my time for myself and for God. And then, then when I get home, I have the whole day in front of me to do the things that I have to do.
Do you still get up at 3 a.m.?
No, ma'am, I don't. I try not to set an alarm, but usually I wake up on my own around 5:30.
That's
Mhm.
early.
Yeah.
I do the same thing every morning. Before I get out of bed, I do some stretches and exercises, and then my non-negotiable is I have to walk every morning, and I do the same thing you do. I don't listen to music. I listen to the birds,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
I walk my dog every morning, whether it's raining, snowing, although it doesn't snow here in LA. But yeah.
But I do a
So tell
similar.
me something.
I just want to put in 2 cents. I do a similar thing too. When I first wake up, I meditate. That's non-negotiable because I back up whatever time I have to be somewhere. I back it up so I have an extra 20 to 30 minutes to meditate. And once I'm ready to leave the house, I go walking with a group of neighbors. We've got this
Hmm.
walking group that's out 7 days a week, and it's really wonderful. I kind of urge people, if you have anybody in your neighborhood that might walk with you, it's really a good thing. It keeps you do much more distance that way. We go around. If I were just doing it by myself, I'd stop way before. Way before.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have the
Yep.
I
support.
don't. I have a dog. I have a dog. We have to walk at least 1.25 miles every morning and 1.25 miles at night. And I know exactly the place in my neighborhood where I can stop and turn around. And
Yep.
And he does all
that's a wonderful meditation period too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
best thing about both of you is you have someone counting on you. You can't say no when someone's counting on you. And that's the other
right.
thing. If a person hasn't been exercising or is ready to change, it's always great to grab a girlfriend or a husband or someone.
Dog.
Yeah, a dog, someone who's not going to let you off. And when I started my fitness journey back when my kids were still home, I signed up for a program with a girlfriend because I was not going to leave her sitting in my driveway in a car at 5 o'clock in the morning waiting for me to go find my workout clothes. I was up and ready to go.
Good for you.
That's
It's a good
discipline.
solution.
That is discipline. So, we all have our hang-ups. And how do our own hang-ups limit our ability to live an abundant life?
Oh, I think we're our own worst critics. When I had the gym, I always asked people when they first came in, I asked them to name 3 things that they loved about themselves. And often often everyone, men and women, would leave that particular question blank. And it bothers me that we can't identify the good in us or the worth in ourselves. And we don't use that to spur us on to become better and better and better. Our hangups, I think, we create them. No one's placing these things on us, and we allow these self-limiting beliefs about ourselves to determine how we live our lives. And so my particular hangups, I've had many in my life. I can't go to church because I don't know enough about the Bible, right? I'm going to look like a fool. Or I can't go to a book study because, gosh, I didn't read the chapter. I can't join a gym because I'm too big and people will make fun of me. All of those things that we tell ourselves, it's very unlikely that anyone else thinks that in our world. And so, like with most things, whether it's good eating, exercise, going out and doing something new, or starting a new career in your second act, if there's a thought or an idea or an inkling to do it, I think you should just take the first step
I
and
love that.
just begin.
Yeah, I love that. But sometimes people don't even know what's good about themselves. They just go through life. And have you worked with people who are that way? And how do you tell them to find the beauty in themselves?
Tell them to ask someone else.
Hmm.
There's an exercise in my book, and I call it Wells and Betters. And we start there. When a person can say, I love this about me, we start with Wells and Betters. And I have them look at themselves in the mirror, really look, and name the things that they love about themselves. For me, I love my eyes. I love them all the time. They're the one gift that my dad gave me that I would never give back.
They're blue. For our listeners, they're blue and they're
Very
quite
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
And your
I've gained.
smile.
Yeah, I love my smile too. There was a time I didn't, but I had some injury when I was a child, and I used to not like my smile, and it became a priority to me, something I wanted to change and make me happy again. If I gain weight and then lose weight or whatever the case may be, my legs, I was blessed with great legs, no matter what I weigh. I love that about me. But then after I make that list of things that I love about me, I also have a list of things that I would like to change and things that I'd like to be different. And so doesn't mean that I'm a bad person, doesn't offset the good. The good always offsets the bad. So maybe I just need to make a plan to change those things that I'm not happy with. Same way with a career. We've reached a point in our lives. I'm not washed up. I've got, gosh, I hope I've got many years ahead of me. So what can I do? I could write a book. I could start a podcast. I could learn photography. I could go back to school if I really wanted to. I told my husband I don't ever want to have to justify a college education or more school by getting a job, because he would expect me to get a real job. But we are at such an incredible time in our lives where there are no limits, and quite often there's not a lot of pressures. So why not just move forward and do something new and exciting?
Yeah,
Well, you give credit to your
that's
faith
true.
for making your journey towards better health more sustainable. So would you tell us about that?
It took me realizing that I was always worthy and always beautiful in one's eyes, always. And when I started thinking about when I think about my boys, and I think about how sad I would be if my boys looked in the mirror and didn't love themselves. As a parent, that would break my heart.
Yeah.
And yet, for me, I imagine how sad God must be when his greatest creations can't look at themselves and love themselves. And along with scripture and some writing and a renewed prayer habit, I have to give credit to God for helping me get back on the right track. I may not be exactly who I want to be physically. I may not be exactly who I want to be in many ways, but I'm always loved and I'm always worthy and I'm always beautiful in his eyes. And as I've discovered, my husband's and my son's and my grandsons. So if a person ever finds themselves in that state of blah, of not wanting to move forward, and you can't find the things that you love about yourself, I really would encourage them to reach out and ask someone else, what do you love about me?
Yeah, and it takes real guts to
It
ask that
started with faith,
question.
and it's
Yeah, it does. It
it
does.
does.
Yeah.
It does.
And
But I can
people
ask
will come up
him.
with different answers too, which is
Oh, they do.
nice.
They do. Yes.
I love that. That's powerful, Kim. That is, especially what you said about looking at your sons and being heartbroken if they didn't love themselves, and if God would be upset if he was looking at us and say, or she, depending on who you think God is,
Yep.
if looking down on us and thinking we didn't love the creation. So talk more about your book, Reflections of Joy, and also about the last chapter you've titled Let Go. What do you think women and men need to let go of?
Reflections of Joy started out as a how-to manual. When I had the gym, I thought I had it all figured out. And if I just wrote a book and I send it to everyone, they would eat like we did and exercise like we did and find fellowship and fun like we did, and everyone would be healthy. But then I closed the gym. And then I realized that it's not just when it's a habit and it's your everyday and it's your job, like it was me, it was easy. But it's not always easy. And so through the time period that I was telling you about, and my loss of my own sense of purpose and the gaining the weight and things, and the turnaround, the how-to manual became a how I book. And I share my story of faith and habits and the way that I like to eat. And it's not a diet book and it's not an exercise book. It just offers suggestions and maybe things that people haven't thought about before. But when I reached the end of the book, I thought, gosh, it just still kind of feels like a manual. What more can you share? And so over the last 5 or 6 years, I've really tried to let go of some of the things that hold me back. Some self-limiting thoughts that I have about myself. I've gone through a period of numbing. I think people need to let go of numbing. We need to experience the good and the bad. And we live in a society where there are substances, whether liquid or chewable or inhalable, that can make us numb. And I think that we've lost a sense of sad and happy and joy and grief, and we need to embrace that. I think we need to let go of self-doubt. We need to let go of fear. We need to do things that excite us. We need to let go of oh, I'm so and so's wife and so's mother and so's employee, and that's all I'll ever be. I am a unique individual woman with lots of thoughts and ideas and things that I want to do. And now that I'm not chasing after kids who are going to soccer practice and football, and I'm not feeding a crew, I have time to explore all that I can do and all that I can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's time that we, especially as women, let go of things like, I'm too old for that. I'm too old to go back to school. I'm too old to find a new job or write a book. Says who, right?
Yeah, says who?
So
Says who?
says who?
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And if someone does
Yeah.
say that to you, you don't need them in your life. Yeah. How is your journey now towards good health different than it was, say, 15 or 20 years ago?
Well, I exercise in ways that I enjoy. And more often than not, like you ladies, I walk. I love getting outside. I love walking. I lift some weights and I stretch. But 15 or 20 years ago, I was kickboxing and I was trying to,
Whoa,
I was doing a
kickboxing.
lot of high intensity exercise. And at the time, it felt fine. It was good. I was strong. What I've noticed as I get a little older, that I can still do those things, but I certainly can't do them every day. I don't
Mm-hmm.
recuperate quite as quickly as I did before. Sometimes I might spend the whole day outside, working in the yard. And I still, it's good exercise. We know because we feel it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So I've moved to a place where my exercise, I like to do things that I know I can repeat tomorrow. And when I wake up and I don't feel as strong as I might, I don't have to do something. I can change my mind. I could do yoga instead of lifting weights today. I've tried to honor the way that I feel. And I've tried to do the same thing with food. There is not, in my opinion, there is not a right diet for everyone. There is a right diet for each one of us, but we have to explore and try different things to figure out what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
For sure.
that's true.
I've tried to honor, I've reached a place in my life where I try to honor what I know about myself, not what somebody tells me about myself.
Mm.
That's
That's true.
that is
Hard.
a place to reach.
Yeah.
Definitely a goal for all of us.
Mhm.
Can you share some stories about people that you've worked with whose lives have changed since you began working with them or since they've read your book?
I just met the most lovely lady. So I wrote my book with a group. There was a cohort of 40 of us that started with a small hybrid publisher. And I met some fabulous women, and they've become what I hope are lifelong friends. Through one of those women, I met another woman, and she read my book, and I started coaching her. At the time, she just didn't feel good about herself. She just wanted more energy. She didn't want to ache. And so we just started with a simple walk. We meet once a week. We talk about what's good in her life, what's not. She started moving a mile the first week, every day, a mile. and increasing slowly and slowly. And over a period of time, now she's up to 4 miles without any trouble.
Wow.
She texts regularly with her daughter. They compare their watches and they share their stats. They're cheering one another on. They're eating healthy. They're trying new recipes. They're making good choices. And for the first time in her life, I received a message just the other day. She's not depriving herself, but she's still making progress. So if she goes out for a nice dinner with her husband, she could have a glass of wine if she likes, or she could have dessert if she likes, because she knows tomorrow she's just going to jump right back on because she feels good, not because she has to, but because she finally is making progress and she's not depriving herself. She's enjoying her life and still making changes. There's so many cases where when we drop the mindset that we've always had, it's all or nothing, all or nothing. I'm over all or nothing. I want to enjoy my life and my family and my health. So,
well, what would you have our
That's
audience?
powerful.
What would you have our audience have as a takeaway today?
that you can do anything that you set your mind to. I think if there's someone out there listening who thinks, I've let it go too far, I can't begin an exercise program. Yes, you can. Now, you may want a coach, or you may want to hire a personal trainer to teach you how to do things safely. If you're embarrassed, you can walk to the mailbox and back. Do something good for yourself every single day and keep working towards that place where you can add some more. Same with food. If your diet is terrible, we've all been there, right? We've all had moments in our lives where maybe we ate too much convenience food, or we just didn't have time to cook. Every small step you take towards good health makes a difference, and it makes tomorrow easier and the next day easier.
I love that.
Wonderful.
That is great. Thank you so much, Kim. That is those are words to live by. Thank you. Our guest today on Late Boomers has been Kim Mosiman, author, certified nutritionist, personal trainer, and life coach. She offers hope to women who have entered midlife without direction or purpose, and a lifeline to those seeking to harmonize their busy lives with their wellness goals. You can reach Kim through her website, KimMosimanWellness.com. That's KIMMOSIMAN Wellness, WELLNESS.com. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And we want to thank our listeners for subscribing to our podcast and checking us out on YouTube and recommending us to your friends. We appreciate you. We'd love to have you give us a 5-star review, and we want to hear about your experiences with late boomers and what gets you inspired. We are on Instagram at I am Cathy Worthington and at I am Merry Elkins and at Late Boomers. Thank you for listening, and thanks again, Kim.
Thank you. It's been great to be here.
Great to have you.
Thank you for joining us on Late Boomers, the podcast that is your guide to creating a third act with style, power, and impact. Please visit our website and get in touch with us at lateboomers.biz. If you would like to listen to or download other episodes of Late Boomers, go to ewnpodcastnetwork.com.
This podcast is also available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and most other major podcast sites. We hope you make use of the wisdom you've gained here and that you enjoy a successful third act with your own style, power, and impact.